eyes watering under the crown, not from wind, not from dust, but from the weight of days that bow even the tallest necks. The crown rests gently for the world to see, yet presses hard where no one looks, where thoughts gather like storm clouds, behind a practiced, calm gaze. He stands beneath chandeliers of praise, while silence kneels inside his chest. Every cheer becomes an echo, every echo becomes a question. Gold shines louder than grief, but grief has a deeper voice. It whispers in corridors at night, when guards turn into shadows, and shadows turn into truth. Eyes watering under the crown, he blinks and calls it light. He smiles and names it duty. He nods and buries the ache. No one teaches a king how to cry without sound, how to fold tears into dignity, how to hide rivers behind protocol. The throne knows his posture, the mirror knows his face, but only the dark knows how often his soul leans forward. He remembers days without titles, when his name was enough, when laughter had no audience, and love had no conditions. Now love arrives in measured steps, wrapped in rules and expectations, and even affection bows before touching his heart. Eyes watering under the crown, he looks far, far away, past borders, past flags, into a childhood horizon that never demanded strength. Night becomes his closest advisor, stars his quiet witnesses. The moon asks nothing of him, except honesty. In that pale light, he loosens the armor of manners, lets his breath fall uneven, lets memory speak freely. He thinks of promises made to nations, and promises made to himself, and how the second list is always the one postponed. Power teaches control, but never comfort. It trains the hand to command, not the heart to rest. Eyes watering under the crown, a single tear threatens rebellion. He arrests it quickly, calls it weakness, sentences it to solitude. Yet tears are loyal subjects. They rise only to serve truth. They know the cost of silence. They know the language of endurance. He carries 1,000 faces in one.
Leader, protecteur, symbole, son.
Each one pulls at him differently. Each one claims priority. Who listens when the crown listens to itself? Who holds the holder of fate? Who says, you may sit down now. You may be human here. The halls are wide, but his heart feels narrow tonight. Even echoes sound tired of repeating his footsteps. Eyes watering under the crown, he wonders if strength could mean admitting fatigue. The courage could mean rest. History paints rulers in bold strokes, never showing the trembling hand that held the brush, never showing the pause before decisions, the doubt stitched into resolve. He signs decrees with steady ink, while his soul writes letters no one will read. There are names he cannot speak aloud, loves he must translate into distance, dreams he locks behind tradition, and calls it honor. Eyes watering under the crown, he breathes in the smell of old stone, of centuries that survived by sacrifice, and wonders what they lost along the way. The crown does not ask if he is tired. It assumes endurance. It assumes sacrifice is infinite. But the heart keeps its own accounting, counting nights, counting unspoken words, counting the cost of always standing. He watches dawn arrive like forgiveness, soft, unannounced, painting hope across the sky, without permission. In that moment, he is not a ruler, not a symbol, not a command. He is simply a man, with eyes watering under a crown, learning again how to carry both light and weight. Morning enters without ceremony, as if it knows it is not allowed to ask questions. Sunlight slips between curtains, like a secret trying not to be caught. Eyes watering under the crown, he greets the day before it greets him. Routine dresses him first. Layers of fabric, layers of expectation. Each button fastened is another emotion postponed. Each polished surface reflects a version of him that never complains. Advisors arrive with folders of urgency, voices sharpened by necessity. They speak of borders, numbers, futures, as if the heart were not part of the map. He listens carefully, because listening is a form of power, yet inside his thoughts drift to quieter matters, to the way silence felt before responsibility learned his name. Eyes watering under the crown, he nods, approves, delays. Time bends to his decisions, yet his own time feels borrowed. The world believes kings wake strong, as if strength were not rehearsed, as if courage did not require repetition. Every single morning, he walks through halls, where portraits stare with painted confidence. Ancestors frozen in certainty, forever unburdened by modern doubt. He wonders what they hid, what nights broke them softly, what tears dried unnoticed, before becoming legend. Eyes watering under the crown, he feels history breathing on his neck, warm and demanding, whispering, "Do not falter." The crowd waits beyond the gates, faces lifted like prayers. They need hope, and hope must look unbreakable. He steps forward, smile measured, posture exact. Cheers rise like waves, and he becomes the shore, still receiving, eroding slowly. Eyes watering under the crown, he lifts a hand, and the crowd believes in tomorrow. They never see the tremor, hidden in the wrist. Children wave flags larger than themselves, their faith innocent and heavy. He feels it settle on his shoulders, with the crown's familiar pressure. Speeches are bridges between fear and reassurance. He builds them carefully, word by word, hoping none collapse. Under scrutiny, inside every promise, private doubt sleeps lightly, not from dishonesty, but from knowing how fragile futures can be. Eyes watering under the crown, he speaks of unity, while fragments of himself quietly ask for the same. Applause ends, as all loud things must. Silence returns him to himself, patient, observant. Behind closed doors, he loosens his tie, as if giving his breath a small apology. Power tastes metallic when alone, like coins held too long on the tongue. Fills the mouth, but never the hunger. Eyes watering under the crown, he finally sits. The chair accepts him, without judgment. Letters wait on the desk, requests, complaints, confessions. Strangers trusting him with their most human fears. He reads slowly, because suffering deserves attention. Each page adds weight to an already full heart. There are words like please, words like help, words like we have no one else. They echo longer than commands. Eyes watering under the crown, he signs relief into existence, turns ink into hope, and wonders why saving others never fully saves himself. Afternoon stretches thin, time becoming obedient again. Meetings stack like stones, each one necessary, each one exhausting. He learns the art of being present everywhere, except within his own ache. Eyes watering under the crown, he masters the pause, that sacred space, where emotion almost escapes, but is gently returned to silence. Evening approaches with softer demands. The palace grows quieter, as if respecting fatigue. He walks alone now, footsteps honest on marble floors. No cameras, no witnesses, only the truth of movement. Eyes watering under the crown, he removes it at last. The room exhales with him. His head feels lighter, but his thoughts grow louder. Without the crown, there is no excuse for tears. He looks out the window, city lights flickering like borrowed stars. Every light a life, every life a responsibility. He will never fully meet. Eyes watering under the crown, now resting on velvet. He allows one tear to fall, just one. It lands quietly, not a rebellion, not a weakness, but a reminder that even symbols are sustained by flesh and feeling. Night gathers him gently, and for a moment, he is not a ruler. He is simply human, learning to breathe beneath expectations, learning to survive the honor of wearing a crown. Night settles deeper now, thick as velvet curtains drawn across the sky. Silence grows confident, no longer afraid of footsteps or orders. Eyes watering under the crown, He walks where no titles follow, private corridor of thought, lined with unfinished prayers. The palace sleeps in fragments. Some rooms dream of power, others remember laughter, most forget why they were built. He passes them all slowly, as if apologizing to the walls for carrying too much sorrow inside them. Eyes watering under the crown, he pauses before a mirror that refuses to flatter. Without ceremony, it shows him exactly who he is, not legend, not symbol, but a man shaped by waiting. Lines near his eyes tell stories the world never asked to hear. They speak of restraint, of words swallowed for peace, of love folded into duty. He touches his face gently, as if confirming he still exists, beneath inherited expectation. Eyes watering under the crown, he remembers the first time it was placed upon his head. How heavy it felt then, how foreign the silence afterward, how applause blurred into a distant, roaring sea. He had smiled bravely, thinking courage was enough. He did not yet know how long bravery must last. Time teaches its lessons slowly, with repetition and cost. It teaches that leadership is often loneliness disguised as honor. Eyes watering under the crown, he thinks of friendships faded by protocol, of jokes that no longer fit the room, of trust rationed carefully. Even laughter must be measured, so it does not offend history. He steps onto a balcony, air cool against his thoughts. The city hums below, alive unknowing. Eyes watering under the crown, he watches strangers live freely, holding hands, arguing loudly, forgiving quickly. Their lives move without ceremony, and for a moment, he envies their invisibility. The stars do not bow to him. This comforts him. They shine with ancient indifference, reminding him that even crowns are temporary. Eyes watering under the crown, he leans against the rail, allowing exhaustion to speak. In its own quiet language, he wonders if the world understands the cost of being its anchor, of never drifting, of always standing firm. While storms pass through, every decision leaves a shadow. Every silence chooses a side. Eyes watering under the crown, he reviews a lifetime of moments where there was no perfect answer, only the least painful one. Regret is a disciplined companion. It walks behind him, never interrupting, always present. He has learned to carry it, like an extra layer of skin. Eyes watering under the crown, a memory returns uninvited. A voice once close, speaking his name, without reverence or fear. That voice lives now, in the museum of his heart, untouched, protected from reality. Some loves must remain memories, to survive at all. He breathes deeply, inhaling the night, exhaling obligation. Eyes watering under the crown, he allows himself a forbidden thought. What if rest were not betrayal? What if strength included surrender, not of power, but of pretense? The wind answers nothing, yet feels like understanding. He closes his eyes, letting darkness take over vision, trusting himself, without witnesses. Eyes watering under the crown, tears finally gather without shame. They do not fall dramatically, they simply exist. Each one carries a name, responsibility, sacrifice, expectation, hope. He wipes them away gently, not to erase them, but to acknowledge them. Even kings must grieve the versions of themselves they never became. The night grows older, so does he. Yet somewhere beneath the weight, a quiet resilience remains, not loud, not polished, but real. Eyes watering under the crown, he straightens his back once more. Dawn will come again, demanding presence, demanding belief, and he will answer, as he always does, not because he is unbreakable, but because he is still here. Before dawn learns his name, he remains awake, a figure balanced between eras, yesterday's burdens, and tomorrow's demands. Eyes watering under the crown, he listens to the slow pulse of the palace, a heartbeat made of stone and memory. Even buildings grow tired, Even walls remember tears. Somewhere a clock ticks faithfully, unaware of the weight it measures. Time is loyal, but never gentle. Eyes watering under the crown. He pours tea he does not need, just to watch the steam rise. Proof that even pressure can become something light. The cup warms his hands, a small mercy in a large life. He holds it longer than necessary, as if warmth might answer questions.
Sauts arrive uninvited.
As they always do when silence feels safe. They speak of roads not taken, a courage delayed, of truths disguised as patience. Eyes watering under the crown, he wonders how many rulers before him stood exactly like this, alone at the edge of dawn, negotiating with their own hearts. History does not record these moments. It edits out hesitation, leaving only certainty. But certainty is learned, not born. He remembers being told that leadership means knowing the way. No one mentioned that sometimes the way is built step by step. In doubt, eyes watering under the crown, he reviews the language of strength. He was taught, never bend, never reveal, never rest. Yet storms teach trees a different lesson. Those who bend survive. He exhales slowly, as if releasing an inherited command. The first hint of light touches the horizon. It does not rush. It understands patience. Eyes watering under the crown, he watches darkness retreat, not defeated, just complete. There is dignity in endings, even quiet ones. Birds begin their conversations, unaware of borders or titles. Their freedom feels ancient, earned through simplicity. Eyes watering under the crown, he allows himself a faint smile, not for an audience, but for survival. Another day is coming, another test of composure, another performance of resolve. Yet something has shifted, subtly, like armor loosened beneath robes. He has not escaped the crown, but he has understood it better. Eyes watering under the crown, he places it back upon his head, not as a sentence, but as a choice renewed.